Stand by 1 second. Okay, we are streaming.
Great. Okay, let's call a meeting to order. And we'll skip the pledge because we don't have a flag. What is that?
Get rid of that. Hang on.
Okay. Do we need to do a roll call?
Sorry, I was muted. Trustee Brian Goodell, I believe he's absent. Secretary Susan Knutson.
Here.
And Chairperson Richard Steinhoff.
Here.
Thank you.
Oh, you know what? It says Gray Grath in my on the agenda. It says Gray Grath.
Oh, that's for the minutes for the previous meeting.
Oh, that's for the minutes. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm assuming there's no public comments?
No, sir.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm looking at the minutes. All right. So we have a consent calendar. Let's see. Need a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I motion that we approve the consent calendar.
Okay, I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 2-0. So we have the trust reports for the quarters ending December 31st, 2019, March 31st, 2020, and June 30th, 2020. Need a motion to receive and file?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I think that was part of the consent calendar, but if you want to do it separately, I'll go ahead and
Oh,
motion.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got carried away. All right, okay. Do we have any staff comments? Joe? Cheryl?
Cheryl, you're on mute.
Oh,
Sorry, I was getting some feedback, so I wanted to minimize that.
there you go.
I think, there really isn't much activity that takes place in the trust. Right now, we have two investments, primary investments for the trust. One is the water agreement with Santa Margarita Water District, and then the other is with the city related to the loan we gave the city to purchase the golf course. And of course, the payments that we get back from those, from the water district are on time, and we're getting those on a regular basis. The first payment we're going to get from the city, those will be annual payments, and that first payment's going to be in November. The only other really thing of note is the balance of all of our funds is sitting in, it's sitting in a bank account that was previously with Opus Bank. And we were getting a pretty good interest rate on that. It was very competitive with LAIF. And of course, LAIF has now declined. And in our last meeting, Jeff Probst had made the comment about it sitting at about 80, maybe 70, 80 basis points. So it was sort of competitive with that. So when it was up in the twos and high twos, it was a really good interest rate. That bank was bought out by Pacific Premier Bank a few months ago, and they've recently dropped the interest rate. I think it might be at 50 basis points now, or at least that's what I was talking to someone from Pacific Premier who we were discussing this account. And so we might need to look at maybe what to do with these funds moving forward if Pacific Premier is going to take a different approach to how our account is going to get managed. So just a comment, just to give you a heads up about that, we initially put the excess money in that account because it was a really good rate for just cash sitting in a bank. But that kind of might not be the case going forward. So it might cause us to want to move it, but that's something, there isn't a whole lot of money in there right now, but going forward, as the balance starts to build up, we might need to think about moving it somewhere else. So.
Can you give us a recommendation on that? I had the same problem. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I don't know that I don't really have one right now because I don't
Okay.
know that any bank account that earns interest probably isn't going to get us much. This particular bank was trying to be competitive with other banks, and they know that cities put a lot of their excess cash in life, and so they were trying to be purposely competitive, I think, so they could do business with cities. I don't know that Pacific Premier is going to take the same approach. They might not. They might just need to figure out the portfolio of Opus and then figure out what they want to do moving forward. And they may not have figured that out yet, but we'll work with them to see if they can provide something better than this. But if we intend to keep larger balances, it's possible. I don't know if LAIF could be an option. I'd have to look at that. But right now, I don't have a recommendation. So
Okay.
I'm just giving you a heads up that has been a significant change since the last time we presented reports to you.
Okay. So it looks like Brian didn't make it. So Susan, do you have any comments?
No, I don't have any comments today.
And I have no comments either. So, being no further business, I call the meeting adjourned. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.